The Lance Wallnau Show is coming at you live from the Master himself, with a special broadcast taken from one of Lance's most recent appearances. Tune in and get ready for some major revelation.
So that's called spiritual formation. A lot of work went into that. So you're on your way like that. Then you come into this area of gifts, discovery, and development. So you guys that are working in the ministry, you found out you could worship, you could sing, you could administrate, you could do the children's church, you could do the announcements, you could do this and that. A lot of you are just enjoying the ride, coming in. Go find a job here. Do something. Because you're missing the third stage. It's called gift discovery and development. Now you're in the marketplace. So it's kind of impractical, Lance. I'm already at work. Okay, great. Your gift discovery and development, are you an innovator, an ideator, an exhorter, empathetic? Are you connecting with people emotionally? Are you analyzing stuff? Are you mechanically inclined? Are you physically inclined? Are you athletically inclined? That's gift discovery and development. You'll find out that whatever talents and abilities you got were hardwired into you when God got you, when you were born. And then when you got born again, you had spiritual aptitudes programmed into you. You don't even know how to activate it. You got a whole computer card in you. You got to figure out how to boom. Gift discovery and development. So then you come into this next phase over here. You understand sovereign beginning, spiritual formation, gift discovery and development, and then you come into ministry maturity. Now this is when you're beginning to develop more of the character of Christ. You're understanding how to be a witness, how to balance things, how to work with relationships, stuff like that. You're getting more focused on what it is you're gifted to do and called to do. But then you're in the workplace also. So you're a Christian witness or a Christian in the workplace, and you're figuring out how that works, and you're maturing that. And then along comes, meanwhile, you got prophecy, and you're envisioning yourself doing this, building this, or having that, or the ministry doing this. And there's this one phase coming up which is really mischievous. It's called life maturing. And life maturing is a little bit longer. And this is the one that starts to knock people out. By the time you get to here, 80% of people aren't going to go into theirs. So remember that. Life maturing is the marriage that isn't so ideal. It's the aging parents. It's the job. It's being on staff at a church where the pastor doesn't let you preach. It's where you're going to be in all kinds of contradictory circumstances. It's the important thing about life maturing. You got kids that are rebellious. You got one of them that's on drugs. And then you got people saying, well, how can you be a preacher when your own house isn't in order? Or it's the fact that you actually had a screwed up marriage and your second marriage and you're trying to make that work and doing it all right. Life maturing has all kinds of things. The one characteristic that they all have in common is a word in Hebrews called enduring the contradiction. So that means here you're called to wealth and your business goes bankrupt. Here you're called to a healing service or a healing ministry and people are dying on you. I'm just preparing you, folks, because nobody's always telling you the journey up. So you have to endure the contradiction. And during this period here, sometimes the contradiction is the delay. Well, Lance, I'm not going through any of that. I'm actually living a pretty good life and I'm doing all the things right. Well, then your big frustration is how come it isn't happening fast enough? And then I guarantee in order to torment you, you'll have some brother-in-law or neighbor that's going right to the top of the mountain and you're sitting there doing all the same things. You're even going to church and tithing. They don't even know Jesus and they're getting ahead. Then the devil comes along and says, how's it working? How's that Jesus thing working for you? Well, it's called enduring the contradiction. And then you start to have a series of divine appointments. Divine appointments start to show up all along the way here that move you into the various levels of convergence. And then you start moving up the convergence mountain. You're in one level of convergence, it's another level, and ultimately you're in ultimate convergence. Typically happens after the age of 50 in the Western Hemisphere, 50 to 55. And then it can go all the way to like 85 by reason of health. And then you're in what's called like the legacy period, around 80 to 85. Legacy is the Billy Graham era, the Pat Robertson era, the Oral Roberts. It's a really unusual era. It's where God doesn't take you home. Your body's wasting away, but for some reason you stay. You're just trying to keep your cognitive elements from total decline. And you know why God keeps you alive in like the Oral Roberts and Billy Graham and Pat Robertson stage until you're in your 90s, 99 years old? It's because you are the model of possibility for the next generation going to convergence. And these, and the 20% that are enduring the contradiction and have gone through all this, they're making their pilgrimage to Mecca to come to your bedside so they can have a selfie with you and ask you to pray for them. I'm not looking forward to that stage in my life. They're already starting to creep up on me like, hey, can we just be with you and get a picture? Will you pray for us? Like, oh, no, I'm not there yet. Leave me alone. I'm not. Back up. I got a few more hours on the clock yet, okay? Well, we just want to come meet. Can we just see you and can you sign my books? The book you wrote, can you sign it? Oh, all right, leave me alone now. Is that... All right, so that wasn't my sermon. That was free. Wow. That was a freebie. Freebie. But you got to find your why. Why would you endure the process? Why would you go through whatever you're going through in those phases to move you into the conversion zone? The 20% that are here. And then when you're here, things shift around a little bit because you might be in one city, you might be working with one group of people. And then the key is you'll find that your expertise of anointing, you'll have authority over a certain audience. And whatever area you have authority over, and frequently it's a psychographic. It might be a type of people, a professional class that you have authority with. You have to learn to discern the harvest because the harvest will start to shift on you. So right now I'm worried that my harvest is moving to Washington, D.C. because I don't want to go there. People are kind of saying, don't you think, what would you do if Donald Trump goes? I don't want to go, stop. But here's part of the thing. So in terms of discerning what you're ultimately called to do, I read you that verse here in Philippians for a reason. God is at work in you, both to will and to do his good pleasure. So if you're working out the call of God with absolute fidelity and the fear of God, and oh God, I want to stand before you having done what you called me to do. I want to be in convergence like Lance said. 20% of people actually answer the call of God, walk in the script that was written before you were born prophetically in divine appointments, fulfilling the thing that the Father in his foresight and eternity has said, that one can do this, and you actually do it. What an exciting life. And the characteristic of that life is called divine appointments, or the proper secular word for it is unusual coincidences. I got something coming in January at the Trump Doral with all of my favorite doctors. I got a whole group of medical experts going to talk about making you maha healthy. You're going to make you healthy and going to make you wealthy and make you wise for the race of your life, because we're not going to lose. Last year at this time we were celebrating. This year at this time we got a wake-up call, but we're going to win this battle and not lose. Go to lancewallnau.com/wellness and you'll see why Wallnau is doing a wellness conference January 15th through 18th at the Trump Doral. Listen, it's cold up north. Come down to Florida. All right, lancewallnau.com/wellness and save your seat. Well, that's a coincidence. Yeah, sure, because God's setting you up. That's how you know you're in the fingerprints. You're in the matrix when the script is kind of like flipping around on you. You're actually walking in the steps that God ordained before you got there. And what's weird is you even have enemies planted there that God allowed to be there. So there's a great door that is wide open for you, and it's effectual with many adversaries. Your number one adversary, remember this, for your whole life, isn't the devil. It's you. That's the benefit of going through the process. It's not about how you've overcome all these. It's about how you figured out how you're wired and what not to do. So, for instance, as you are going out and you're going up the great mountain of God into the zone, into the convergence zone, which is where I want you all to go, you go together as a church, and it enables you all individually to go up higher. That's why you want to hang out together and have this unity of the Spirit and be of one mind and one accord. Because God is at work in you both to will and to do. You know what that means? The very desire that you have in you, God put there, because God is at work in you to desire to do something. So that business that you want that keeps coming back over and over and over. The key is the persistent, repeated desire that comes to you over the course of a long period of time while you are sanctifying yourself and intentionally seeking first the kingdom. That desire is coming from God, or it wouldn't persist. And the purpose of a religious devil is to rob you of a desire by making you think it's selfish, carnal, fleshly, or demonic. Well, I keep seeing myself on the cover of magazines. I see myself there. I see myself at award ceremony. I see myself in movies. I see myself as a celebrity. That doesn't mean it's the devil. It could be that God wants you to be seen and heard and have an impact, because people of influence tend to be seen. It may be that God wants to sanctify how you're going to respond when it happens. So you got to know how you're wired. So the number one thing I want to say is significance. A lot of us have high significance needs. So if you've got high significance needs, then you're going to have to put to death your need to be important, be significant, be popular. And I'm just telling you, if you're called for significance, you've got to deal with the temptations that come with it. And typically, the way you deal with it is you have to put to death your need to be significant. Now, this is counterintuitive, I know, but what do you think the Bible means when it says everyone is to carry their cross? Whatever gift you've got to learn how to manage it, because the number one thing that'll take you down is the overextension of your gift. Samson wasn't taken down because of femininity. He was taken down because of hypermasculinity. He was after women and killing people. And he got overconfident. His overconfidence is what took him down. Any strength overextended becomes your dominant constraint. So if you're naturally brilliant, all you smart people, and you're always able, you've got the Vivek Ramaswamy kind of, swagger. You got the ability to outthink others and it all works for you. There will come a point where you're going to rely on your wisdom to your own hurt because you're dealing with a smarter devil than you. So therefore, your greatest strength overextended, which means you have to have humility to listen to other people's feedback, including your wife. I have billionaire friends of mine that their wives don't tell them how to make money. Of course, why would they? Because the guy's so gifted. He knows how to do this. He's got $7 billion. And his wife has a little Pentecostal prayer group. And she prays for him. And then she says, if you do thus and so, you shall surely die. Freaked him out. Because what he was planning on doing with some deal he was pulling off in Vietnam and another deal he was doing politically would have killed him. Literally, he would have ended up getting killed. And so the fear of God hit him because his wife in the little Pentecostal prayer group was actually getting words of knowledge and words of wisdom that was beyond the intelligent billionaire's brain. The point is, any strength overextended becomes a weakness. So you have to learn how to manage that strength because that could be your number one takedown. So if you have a high itch for significance and a destiny to be seen by many, sanctify the itch to have to be seen. Because there's a time when you might have to be hidden. There's a time when you might not want to be seen. Significance. Secondly, the other great itch that people have is for, here's one, certainty. These are the four drivers of human behavior, by the way. I'll give them what you are. Uncertainty, certainty, significance, and connection. These four things are in each of you. By the way, when all four of these are being satisfactorily stimulated by anything, it forms an addiction. So your need for significance and importance and being seen and being the best, God can use that. But then if your ego's attached to it, it's going to lead you into trouble. Your need for certainty. So there are some people that have, everybody needs, you need to have a certain amount of certainty, a certain amount of conviction that this is going to be a certain way. By the way, I'm covering all that material in gold medal. I'm giving you gold medal performance right now. So if you want to get everything I'm not talking about, grab this. Gold medal performance. So certainty is this need to have everything buttoned down and predictable so that everything's going to work exactly the way you expect it's going to work. So if you have a high certainty need, and a high significance need, that's all right. Most people have, I'm curious about you guys. I'm going to go through all four of these. You tell me which one's your dominant, because everyone here has a one and a number two. I'm going to find out which ones yours are. Why do you need to know that? Because when you're going up the mountain, Satan knows exactly what it is, and he's going to set up a setup for you that's going to trap you and hold you up or delay you on your journey into the convergence zone. So significance, you might have to endure the contradiction of insignificance until you sanctify the significance itch. Certainty, you have a need to control things. You have to have a need to manage things. You have to have a need to have all the information. Well, listen, I can tell you right now, Moses had a certainty need, and God understood it. Moses goes before God in the backside of the desert. The Lord appears to him, and while the Lord is talking to him and telling him, listen, pick this up, and there's, how am I going to go? Who's going to believe me? He had this confidence issue because he wasn't certain that he was qualified to do the job. So God says, put your hand in your pocket, pull it out. It's leprous. Oh my gosh, put it back in there. How's that? All right, see that stick right there? Pick it up. Boom, it's a snake. Pick it out. It's a rod again. All right, now that's your authority. You're talking to a burning bush to start with. And then Moses' need for certainty, God understood, and he gave him evidence. He gave him information. God gave you the needs. Some of you that are scientific, well, what are you saying? Christians aren't scientific. No, Christians with a certainty need are our frontline apologists, because they verify stuff. They prove their argument. But at a certain point, it annoys God. Just telling you. Because it's like, ugh. Because you're using your need for clarity as a cover for your unbelief. So then Moses goes, well, okay, you're pretty good with burning bushes and with diseases and with inanimate objects, but you know what? I got a speech impediment. Sorry. Why don't you get somebody else? And then the Bible says the Lord waxed angry. He said, all right, that's enough. I've given you plenty of certainty information. Now you're saying you're not qualified because of a speech impediment. Well, guess what? There's somebody on their way right now. It's called your brother Aaron, and I know he can talk. So you're going to put together a team here. You with your impediment and him with his articulateness. We'll see how much trouble he gets you into later. Aaron's joining you right now. So God puts a team together. What does God do? There's a great insight. You not only have to manage your design, you have to recognize that where you're limited, God will give you a team member who complements what you cannot do. In the case of my billionaire friend, his wife is the one who compliments him because he's so smart in his business, he misses the words of knowledge, words of wisdom, and discerning of spirits that comes from our Pentecostal prayer group. So he listens to them. So you got your certainty piece there. By the way, uncertainty, that's what this spelling is supposed to. Uncertainty. Do you know uncertainty is, I love uncertainty. I didn't know I was going to come out and do this today. I had a whole other sermon. I'll have to do that in the next session. Because I came out and I looked over here at this section. I said, these people, just looking at a lot of young people, a lot of people, they're not ready for what I'm going to be talking about over here. I'm going to be talking about the hyperlinked Bible with a revelation of God's end time plan for his ecclesia with Donald Trump in office. That's the next service. For you, it's like, all right, let's just go up the mountain together here. So certainty, uncertainty is that love, that virtual addiction to chaos, that unknown, the fact that you know when you're in an improvisational setting, it's like the essence of comedy. It's the essence of art. It's the essence of music. It's the creative zone where you step into the unknown and something materializes out of it. Well, that's really exciting. The problem is, can you see where an addiction to uncertainty can create an element of chaos in your business? Because you have to structure certain things. And yet your creativity that built the business probably came out of you improvising in the face of uncertainty and coming up with brilliant innovations. But uncertainty by its very, I was with Kim Clement going to TBN. I'll never forget. First time I had to do a TBN thing. And Kim Clement, he was the master of chaos. He created an absolute uncertainty on purpose because for some reason, his prophetic gift worked best in chaos. So he would create chaos in order to hear the Lord. The rest of us had to go through hell trying to get organized because he would create chaos around us. And then he'd be smiling and happy. I said, you're sick, you know that? He goes, I found something out. I was on a treadmill and the doctor said that the more stress I get under, the more my heartbeat calms down. He says, I think I'm wired to create chaos because it relaxes me. I know you're shaking your head, but there's a lot of you that are married to these people. They love that element of last minute. It's kind of like, where's the time coming from? They love it. They love the adrenaline rush of getting there and before the lights go out and getting on the plane. It's like they create moments of high drama because they're alive. All right, then we have the connection people. I've got 1 minute here. Connection people is very special. It's very precious. Connection people, is it possible, ladies, the whole Dr. Cloud book on boundaries was written for women like this, that there's people you need to get rid of in your life and you just can't do it. It's the dysfunctional relationship. It's the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the guy. It's whoever it is in your family, and you keep on praying for them, loving them, but they're bad news. And they're not changing. And you keep on thinking they're going to change. And so this is like the Abraham problem. The worst thing that can happen to a connection person is that he has Ishmael. Let Ishmael live. God comes and says, not Ishmael, is going to be Isaac. I got another idea for you. He's got another baby out in the year. Oh, no, forget the other baby. Let Ishmael live. He wants Ishmael. He's 13 years old. He's bonded with he thinks Ishmael's the will of God. This ought to sober you up. You're called to walk in the faith of Abraham. For 13 years, Abraham missed the fulfillment of what God wanted to do and was actually bonded to the wrong destiny. He's thinking Ishmael's the answer. He goes, not Ishmael, it's Isaac. It's going to be another. I'm too old to have a baby. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. But the connection need is very powerful. It means that you have a natural bonding with somebody. By the way, this is the intimacy with God people. These are the big worshipers. These are the people in the intercessory world and the worship. Their connection with God is everything for them. You guys, let me just see where we are here. These people are intimacy people and quality time people, connecting with other people. Their problem is sometimes they have difficulty letting go of people. But for you to go where God's got you to go, you got to let go of some of the baggage of the past. And some of the baggage includes people and chapters you need to release yourself from. So how many of you say that, well, I got to admit, I want to be number one. I want to have the most powerful impact in the world. I want to have a company that dominates the field. I want to have a business. I want to be able to have a significant footprint. When I leave planet Earth, I want people to know I was here. I want to put a dent in the universe. Is that a significance person? Are there any significance people in the house? You want to put a dent in the universe? Thank you. Are there any people here that just simply want to see things done with excellence, done right, done properly? And in order for that to happen, it's going to require you to have to do it because you're the only person you know of who could possibly demand of them that rigorous commitment to excellence which is necessary to achieve. Where are the certainty people in the room? Where are you? Thank you for that reluctant hand in the air, but I appreciate it. How about those of you that are the artists, the dreamers, the chaos creators, the people that love the theatrics of life? The prophetic is your realm. There we go. Hands of the uncertainty people. How many of you are up about, it's about people, Lance, about the connection. It's about your dog, your cat, your child, your grandson, your friends. Connection people. So do you see, you have a primary and a secondary. We don't have time to go into it, but you can imagine what a significance uncertainty person is doing to create chaos in your life. Or a certainty connection person. You know, those relationships are very important. And they want to manage every detail of where you are over the holidays and who you're with. My whole point is this. Every one of you, every one of those strengths has to be managed going up the hill of God into the call of God. And every one of those is a potential constraint. If the enemy knows you better than you know yourself, he can set you up and control you. So you have to know yourself. This is where enduring the contradiction of the process comes in, because you will go through processes God puts you through to disentangle you from the danger of your own gifting. Wow. There's a potential serpent in the rod of God that is in the hand of Moses. God's got to show you the serpent in the staff in your own life. Got to show you how the enemy can use that very seductive power. Oh, that great leadership gift, you've got that persuasion gift. That could be used without integrity as well as with integrity. And when you find out how to make money, half saying the truth, you'll be really tempted to do it to pay the bills for your ministry. Wow. So you see, there's a lot of layers and complexity to this. But I will let the subject go for now because I intend to go in this direction in the first place.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge